Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show today. Thank you very much for being here. I know you can be elsewhere. Please, the first thing I'd like to ask you to do is, if you are on Facebook, share. If you are on Twitter, share. If you are on Twitch, share. If you are on YouTube, please go ahead and share and share and share. That's the only way we get our performance up, so that we can tell people, let them know what is going on. Nanette Bird Smith, welcome aboard. ABQ, welcome aboard. Everybody, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard those watching from the coffee party. Welcome aboard those watching from Twitch. Welcome aboard those watching from all our other sites. Thank you very much for being here. Eric Hayes, welcome aboard as well. Let me go ahead and take care of some of the stuff. Rose Williams, hi everyone, is what she says. Hi, Rose. How are you doing today? Okay, let's go ahead and start with what Rodden is talking about. Greenland heat wave triggers melting enough to cover Florida with 2 inches of water. Do you know the amount of water that is? The volume of ice, which is greater than the volume of water. Do you know how big that is? This is just one day. Greenland is melting down after experiencing average temperatures over 20 degrees Celsius above normal. 20 degrees above normal. The Danish researchers showed that the ice sheet lost 8.5 billion tons of surface mass last Tuesday, and further 8.4 billion tons on Thursday. The scale is so large that the losses on Tuesday created enough melt water to drown the entire U.S. state of Florida in 2 inches or 5 centimeters of water. What folks don't understand, right, is that amount of melt also raises the, because that melt is what's occurring on land. If you have floating ice that melts, the sea level doesn't raise, right? Because you're in balance. However, if you have ice that is on land that melts, the sea level raises up. A lot of people don't get that. And in Greenland and all these places, we're not talking about floating ice. We're talking about ice that is on land that's melting into the oceans. And that inch, the entire state of Florida, is equivalent to a few micrometers of height if we put it over the entire ocean. But this is, as Rudnin is saying, occurring on a daily basis. The sum total of micrometers equal millimeters equal centimeters equal meters. Think about that, folks. Sky News Australia purges several videos from YouTube after ban over COVID misinformation. I just hope that YouTube applies these rules against lethal disinformation fairly, even though I know they won't. That they apply the rules consistently across their platform, and that they employ more human moderators to verify challenges. Same for Facebook, though, again, they probably won't. YouTube said specifically, we don't allow content that denies the existence of COVID-19 or that encourages people to use hydrochloroquine or ivermectin to treat or prevent the virus. Important information. I interviewed a black reverend today, pastor. We had a 38-minute interview. I was going to play it today, but when I added up all the things that I wanted to talk about today, it would not fit. So I'll play that tomorrow. And also, I don't know if Norman is here yet. Norman did a report for us, but again, I didn't have the time to go over it in detail with all the other stuff that I was doing, and I'd love for him to call in and talk about it, and then I'm going to write a blog about what he discovered. But Norman, if you will, if you're listening already, I would love for you to call into the show later on. We'd like to talk to you about the report that you actually wrote. Let's go ahead and see what else I've got here from Rudnan again. Chantel Brown. This one hurts to the core, but let's go ahead and talk about it. Chantel Brown beats Nina Turner after pro-Israel PAC spends big. Our elections are bought and paid for, but I was expecting the dark money to be corporate bribery, not foreign influence. Chantel Brown was endorsed by a number of pro-Israel lobbying groups, including Democratic Majority of Israel, DMFI, which was founded by Yair Lapid's strategic advisor Mark Mellman. We know who he is. He used to work for the Bush, if I'm not mistaken. Spent over $1 million trying to stop Nina Turner, although their attack ads never actually mentioned foreign policy at all. Instead, the group consistently claimed that Nina Turner had been insufficiently loyal to the Democratic Party. And that is what did it. I think that is what did it. I think if you take a look at that race, it was only by 5 points. But the Democratic Party, for those who don't understand that, it is easy to make the mistake. But one of the reasons they don't understand that, and one of the reasons I like the idea of having people like Nina Turner and others on our shows, but too often they want to go to MSNBC or they want to go to some of these other channels that really are, not going to give them the delta they need to win. I'll tell you that straight up. I think if Nina had played more of the independent, streaking media outlets as opposed to trying to go toe for toe with the Democratic Party that is completely against you, I think she could have pulled it out because she was way ahead until everybody started to come against her for not that she was a Berniak. That wasn't what did it. It's only 5 points that separated them. But that she had a certain amount of disdain for the Democratic Party. And that could have been easily mitigated if she had the right channels, if she were working through the right channels, in my humble opinion. The Democratic establishment went all out to beat Nina. In case any of you don't like Mondoways for whatever reason, out the $2.7 million in outside cash spent in the race as of Tuesday. About $2 million has gone to either supporting Chantel Brown or blasting Nina Turner. In addition to DMFI's massive spend, the corporate-backed Democratic think tank Third Way has invested $250 on digital. Look, but let me tell you, she is supported also by the DFA. All right, DFA. I love DFA. They support good progressive candidates, but I don't know about them. I don't know why people like DFA don't go out there and get all the independent bloggers, all these other guys to ally with them to get things done, as opposed to just hoarding. One of the big problems with progressive organizations that you'll see is that they want to hoard their membership as opposed to forming coalitions of intersecting memberships. In other words, I constantly tell people, go to Common Dreams and subscribe, help Common Dreams out. Go to Daily Kos, subscribe, help them out. I was a featured writer at Daily Kos for quite some time. Go to Op-Ed News. All these other progressive things, I tell people, please, yes, support Politics Done Right to put out the progressive message. But please support all these other guys. Put $1 there, or $2 there, or $3 here, $1 here a month. Why? So that we are all functioning for the same goal. Too often what we have is the same niche process that you have on the Democratic Party, just on the corporate and large scale. We fail to do on the progressive side. I've tried many a times personally. I'm just making a case here. We go to Netroots every year. every year. And all the progressive bloggers are there, thousands. And all the media outlets. There are about 15, 20 of us on Media Row. Radio Row is what they call it there. And there are times that I go and I'll speak to some of them about collaborating. Hey, we need to form. I've been trying to get a good progressive network together, working in sync. You know, somebody gets 1,000 views or something like that, another 1,000 views, another 100 views, another 50 views, or whatever. Putting those things together and working with a message of a day and all that kind of a stuff so that we are consistent. I've approached so many on that. And many say, oh, that's a great idea, Egberto. Let's do it. After the convention, let's go ahead and start talking about it. And then I imagine they go back to their place and they say, oh, well, you know, then we're going to, we have our members. We don't necessarily want to share. We want to share our members. We want to share the people that support us. I want to share the 300 YouTube guys that I have, the 150, I'm talking subscriber and paid subscribers now, the 150 so Patreons, the 100 or so, 150 so contributors. I want that because these are people that are proven that they want to put the message out. But too often, we get so insular in the way we do things that we forget it's about the bigger goal and not personal, not personalities. And that is what I find is usually a large problem in the progressive movement in a microcosm. You have to join forces to compete with those huge forces that have, you know, you go on MSNBC, you reach 3 million people in a day. You go to Politics Done Right, you reach 5,000 people in a day. You go to TYT, you meet 20,000 people in a day. You go to Bill Brown or Tim Brown, you may reach 1,000 people in a day or 2,000 people in a day. We all do it differently, but we do it, and that is what it's going to take for this message to permeate everything. All right, second to last one from Rundit. In the race against Nina Turner, GOP donors fund Chantel Brown with 1 week left in the Ohio primary. Republican donors have picked the Democrat, and pro-Israel pick her. I tell you, I don't know. I think they would have gone. I find it hard to believe that they'll gone with Chantel as opposed to going with Nina. If the Republicans wanted to create havoc, they would more than likely, in my opinion, I don't know the numbers that you're seeing from The Intercept, but I wonder about how that really would run. Okay, all right, last one. Establishment prevails as Brown beats Turner in Ohio special election. This election is a microcosm of everything wrong with our nation. People keep voting corrupt status quo establishment neoliberal candidates after they've been propagandized by media ads, essentially picking money above people, then wondering why things are changing for the worse. Seriously, sometimes I wonder if our nation is effed. No, it's not. And this, Michael, let me tell you what you can do. And all our listeners here, let me tell you what you can do. Whenever you go to these different platforms, lately you've seen me going on to like Ben Dixon and them coming here and vice versa to create some sort of a synergy. Whenever you go to Tim Black or whenever you go to TYT or whenever you go to Majority Report or whenever you go to Tom Hartman, and if you notice, Tom Hartman and we collaborate at times. I put Tom Hartman stuff on. In fact, I did a little piece on Tom Hartman. I can't put it on today. I'll put it on tomorrow likely. But tell them, tell TYT, collaborate with Majority Report, Egberto Willis, Politics Done Right, and all these guys. You guys as the enlightened progressive viewers, tell them all that they need to collaborate with each other. And that is how you make a difference. You're correct, Rudnin, when you say, what's going on here? People keep voting against their own interests. It's not the people's fault. It's the same reason when I want to call all those people who don't want to receive a vaccine. I want deep in my heart, I want to call them by all kinds of names but I won't. Because I understand the pressures coming from the bad sources and how effective they can be. So therefore, it is incumbent on us, those of us in the know, to find a way to communicate with them. You're going to see that interview that I did with the pastor. It was cool. It was cool. This guy is bought into something, but I made him think. Because we had a civil conversation. I'll have him on again. It's going to be hard to move him because they are wedded to an idea. They have taught this idea to many. So you are going to have to bring them around in a certain way for them to be able to also save face. But I digress. Let me continue reading. Nanette Birdsmith, welcome. TJ Eric Hayes. Hi all. Question, do you think it's okay to tell parents they can't have their kids with while they're going to stores or restaurants, etc.? In New York, if under 12 can't get vaccinated, that's what's occurring. Look, Eric, let's get smart here, brother. If anybody can transmit a virus, I am not going to be concerned about a person's feelings if they bring an infected kid into a store and infect many others. A virus doesn't care if it's in a 12-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, or whatever. If you want to bring a 12-year-old into a store unvaccinated, put a damn mask on and keep them close to you and keep 6 feet separation. Because, again, it's your right to kill yourself. It's not your right to kill others. So the law should really say what the law is saying, and I applaud Bill de Blasio for being one of the first to put his foot down and say, this is what's going to happen in my city. I am going to save lives. Yes, I'm with him. Rose Williams, welcome aboard. Eric Hayes, if every adult in your family has been vaccinated, feel free to go to a restaurant together if you have immune. Comprised family members reconsider it. Hayes, wonder why the Dems have turned their back on their own who they're proud of last year. Because we know now for a fact after an investigation that he wronged women. And unlike what folks did with Trump by allowing him to pull on women's crutches, by allowing him to demean their wives, by allowing him to do all those things and still have him as the leader of a party, the one thing I'm not in agreement with the Democratic Party on a lot of things, but the one thing I'm agreed with here with the Democratic Party is that they put women ahead of any real good politician who did a good job in what he did. It says that nobody is above the law. Nobody. Maybe the Republican Party should learn that before they have a pedophile amongst them, before they have a rapist amongst them that's leading them. So maybe that is something that they should consider. Deborah John, welcome aboard. Roberto Luis, saludos everyone at Politics and Right. Bienvenido, Roberto. Hace tiempo que no te he visto, hermano mío. Michael Rodney says, Eric Hayes, Democrats are left independents, don't abide sexual abusers in our midst, unlike conservatives. Pedo Roy, more exactly. Thank you for that. How about disinformation on where people are going that haven't been vaccinated? Yeah. Rose Williams, there are pathogens which we haven't been exposed to for a long time. As these areas have been frozen, scientists have found that once thawed out, some of these organisms are still alive. Amazing, isn't it? There's so many different things that can cause it. Okay, Norman, let me give you the phone number. It is out there. It is 346-248-7799, ID 254-690-91. It's up on the screen right now, sir. Michael Rodnan says, Egberto, mind putting this on the screen? Let's see what it is, senor. You keep giving me some good stuff to put on the screen. Overworked, waitlisted, hesitant seeking. Let me see if I can make it a little larger. Yeah, I think I got it a little larger. Yeah, I can put that on the screen. Let's get that on the screen. All right. Anyhow, continue answering your questions. Bruce Pollard said, good day. Governor Cuomo needs some retraining and then to start from the bottom. Exactly. And by the way, this isn't cancel culture. What he's done is he's harmed women. And at that, a 23-year-old. If that was my 23-year-old daughter and I heard that this guy attempted to do something to her like that, God knows what I would do. Because nobody messed with my daughter. Eric Hayes, which group of people are you talking about? Have you seen the image Egberto just put on the screen? All right, let's see. Uh, Michael Rudden says, yep, Tina Turner started the race 50 points ahead. Yes, she did. She was way ahead. But, so did Bush won. George Herbert Walker Bush, right after the Gulf War, was at 90%. And that's Clinton came right back and beat his butt again. You have to be careful. Nina was on Benjamin show. Was Deborah John? Was she on today or was that a while ago? Because I had her on a few as well. Let me get Norman here, and then I want to talk some issues over here with Norman, and then we'll continue the show. Norman, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Egberto.
Okay, great. Norman, I had asked you to, because a lot of times Republicans like to talk about it's a 50-50 country. And we've been talking about this not being a 50-50 country for a very long time. And not only is it not a 50-50 country in as much as the Senate seems to be 50-50, but people don't even vote 50-50. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your research?
Well, yes. What I did was I took the census of 2019, the proposed expected census of 2019, population of each state, and I did take the results, the election results, distributed according to what each party got, including independents, and then assessed based on the Senate, using the Senate votes, and then did the calculation to figure out what percentage of the country really is Republican, Democratic, and Independent, all the way down to including Libertarian and Green Party, Constitution Party.
Now let's get this straight first, because I want to make sure people are not confused or anything like that. What you did is you actually figure out how did people vote, correct?
Correct. I took the results of each one of the Senate elections the last time that senator won their seat.
Right.
And the distribution of the percentage that they won by, the percentage of the vote they got, the opposition,
Mm-hmm.
and all the opposition, what percentage each opposition person got.
Mm-hmm.
And I then just multiplied that by the population in that state,
Mm-hmm.
to therefore figure out how many people in that state are considered Republican, if you will, or voted Republican. Percentage of the state that's represented by that vote.
Excellent. And tell us what you found out after you did all of this.
So bottom line, the Democrat distribution is 49.9% Democrats, Republicans 42.3%, Independents 0.7%, Libertarian 1.1%.
All right, and go ahead.
And then I did a comparison between 2010 and 2019, where the change was between what is expected to happen in 2019 versus what happened in 2010 in terms of what the census was for the number of people in the country. The population grew from 308 million to 328 million. And the distribution change was a 14% increase 0.14% increase for Republicans and a 0.11% decrease in Democrats. Still, that still ended up with the 49.9% Democrats, 42% Republican.
And now, what that shows decidedly is that first of all, the amount that the country is definitely a democratic country. A lot of times the Republicans like to go out there and, we are a 50-50 country, or we're a center-right country. I think it's time for us to dispel that completely. If you take the amount of votes each senator got as well, it turns out that these senators that are there represent more Democrats than Republicans. True, even if they're a Republican senator.
That is correct. Even when you say someone won the Republican vote by he got 51% of the vote or 76% of the vote. The Democrat might have gotten only 20% of the vote. When you add it all up in the distribution of the country, you end up with that percentage of that 50% Democrat, 42% Republican.
And what is interesting with all of this is that what that really means is that we have been minority run for a long time. We have a Supreme Court that was selected by Republicans, even though we have a majority of Democrats. We have district courts. We have laws that are held back, not in a democratic fashion. And people say, oh, well, we're a representative democracy. You can't be a representative democracy if you don't represent. Agreed?
Agreed. And if you really look at the independent vote, which I didn't include, for example, Bernie Sanders is an independent. He caucuses with the Democrats. The independent vote would push the Democratic majority to 51%.
That is amazing.
Because,
And I think, Norman, and I'm going to take the report that you gave me and actually turned it into a blog, of course, attributing it to that great work that you did. I really appreciate that. And the reason why I'm saying we got to attribute that to, we got to put that out there is, I too often I hear the mainstream media just allow that to pass. Oh, we're a 50-50 country. We are not. We are a democratic country. Punto y final. So please, folks, whenever you hear anybody say that, you let them know that we've been run by a minority because we are not a Democrat. We're not a little d democratic country, but we're a big D democratic country. Thank you, Norman, very, very much for doing that. I really appreciate that, brother.
No problem. Take care, brother. Bye.
All right, great. Now, folks, we want to thank Norman and give Norman a big hands out, a big clap for doing that for us. You went ahead and spent a couple days putting that all together. Let's see. Mike Cisak says, why isn't Cuomo being thrown into jail as the sexual harasser he is? It is because he is a Democrat governor and Democrats get away with any crime. Okay, let's go ahead and fact check you, Mr. Cisak. Your president, our president then, 45, has over 20 women that have said he's raped them or gouged them. He's admitted to holding their crutches. Remember, Cuomo is not accused of raping anybody. The past president has. So your statement is categorically false, and it puts anything that you say in doubt that you could make a statement like that with a serious face, my dear brother. So please, if you want to recover, please go ahead and understand what we're saying here. Let's see what else. Para ver, Mike Cisak says, leftists are like libertarians who often only want purity in the ranks. Leftist regressives really only make maybe 8% of the U.S. population, smaller than libertarian. Keep trying to hope. Sorry, acronym TFAPFA. I'm not sure what that is. Eric Hayes, Egberto, to get to a progressive network to work against Dems and Republicans alike you don't agree with. Don't follow what you're saying. Anyway, going down. Egberto, yes, I often say that the establishment of both parties are two sides of the same corporatist coin, and they're both aligned against progressives. Of course. And why are they? They have to be aligned against progressives. And why are they aligned against progressive? Because what we stand for, what progressives stand for, is completely against what these guys are doing. As I explained to the pastor today, capitalism is antiseptic slavery. And as we point those things out with the evidence and experience and fact, they don't want most Americans to know that. They want most Americans to remain uninformed. And that is something we don't do. We just don't do that. And that's why it's so hard for us to get impact. And that's why we have to get together to really get consistent impact. All right. Let's see. Michael Rodney says family members need 6 feet separation. Nah, pointless. No. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying, however, if somebody's infected in your house and you know that and you are not, yeah, you better keep 6 feet or whatever possible. Egberto, Dems are hypocritical, and yes, agree with you too. Well, you should agree with me because, sir, I think well, I know why you agree with me. Carl Cox, too many fools out there for whatever reason don't believe the virus is dangerous to them or dangerous to everyone. Same goes for Trump supporters. Well, it's not only Trump supporters, though. I've been trying to convince a few people, friends of mine, to take the vaccine. One of them told me the Lord will take care of her. That's what she said. And I've seen a lot of those who the Lord have taken care of, 6 feet under, and some of them out of the hospitals right now regretting that they hadn't. Yvette Avery Herod, welcome aboard. Michael Rodney and Egberto, the way to make an image larger on it's the right click, copy image, address, paste. Brother, I know how to do all of this. The problem is I'm working with a system that doesn't lend itself to do that, sir. All right? Come on. Give me some credit here, Rudnan. Rose says if you're not vaccinated or you can't be vaccinated, just wear a mask. This applies to children also, and parents need to pay close attention to children when they're in public. Everyone knows that children tend to be germ magnets. So true. And the belief that somehow children were going to be immune to this stuff, I just didn't know where that was coming from. Jessica Taylor, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Let's see. Jessica Taylor sad about Nina Turner, but she ran a great campaign. Nina always run a great campaign. I think the people that fail Nina too often is the progressive media and the progressive intelligentsia. I saw Bernie Sanders a great campaigner for her, but I saw Dr. What's his name? The guy with the crazy afro. Can't remember his name right now. That just left Harvard or got pissed at Harvard or whatever. I listened to when he was campaigning for her, and I just thought that the guy's a very smart guy, but I think he was out of place for the kind of campaigning that she needed locally. I thought Bernie's message was great when he campaigned with her. I thought the rapper from Georgia was great when he campaigned for her, but the other guy I don't think was. All right, Mike Cisak, there is a majority of Democrats who are just as conservative, right-leaning as I am. They're conservative. They're not right-leaning. Well, actually, I better take that back. You're right. You're right, Cisak. There are also a lot of Republicans that are left-leaning like I am, and don't tell me that's not true because I have a lot of friends who are. And if you doubt that, look at some of them that are log cabin Republicans or something like that. Okay, that said, need to look beyond Democrats and Republicans. Yes, if you consider independents as their own voting bloc, there are more independents than either Democrats or Republicans. And guess what? Combined. Rose Williams, don't forget the graphic that shows that land area doesn't equate to numbers of voters. A lot of people get fooled by that. They so get fooled by that. We're a republic, not a democracy. Well, I want a democracy. Egberto, mind putting this one on the screen. What is that one now? Americans Party Identification Quarterly Averages. I could do that. Let's go ahead and put that one on for you. Para ver. Let's go ahead and put that on the screen for you. And there it is, Rudnan. All right. Let's see. Para ver, ¿qué más voy a hacer? Let's see what else I can do there. All right. Eric Hayes, the 2020 election was an anomaly and with a pandemic made it so. Very good stats, Norman. Good job. Roberto Lewis says, Norman, you did a hell of a job. Nanette Bird says, thanks, Norman. Rose Williams, in the U.S. cities have more people than rural areas. Of course they do. Eric Hayes, but you know what? The rural area people have much to complain about. And they should be complaining to the Republicans who represent them because the Republicans who represent them don't care about them. Otherwise, policies would be different. They will have better Medicaid for Medicare, the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care that would have prevented all those rural hospitals from closing. But again, they don't care about their people. They just need their people's vote, so they use ideological thought points to get them. Egberto, one more for the screen. Michael, what are you talking about now? Criminal convictions per administration, not the subject of the day. Let's see. Eric Hayes, Michael Rudnin. Egberto, coronavirus is largely spread asymptomatically. People don't know they spread it. Family members don't take precautions in their own homes. It's impossible to do so anyway. Well, if you got a few bucks, there are a lot of kits out there now. But I see your point. Jeff is no longer the richest person and thought you should know. Jeff Bezos, who is the new richest person on the planet? Let's see who that is. Bernard Arnault surpasses him. Oops. The French tycoon, amazing. You know, all these guys that are rich for doing absolutely nothing, right? Cornel West, exactly. That's who I was talking about, Bionic Kranik. Thank you, Bionic Kranik, for reminding me. Bridge MCP, welcome back, Bridge. Well, hello all. I'm back. Bought a house. Missed ya. We missed you, girl. We missed you. Thank you for coming back. Norman says, replying to Eric, so I'll leave that alone. Rondon, Egberto, were you talking about Cornel West? Yes, sir. I was talking about Cornel West. Rose William, there is nothing biblical about saying that the Lord will take care of you when you can easily prevent a problem. That is presumption. I agree. Bruce says you will go crazy. But how is sexual impropriety unlike drug addiction? I don't want to throw more people in jail. I don't want to throw anybody in jail. But if you do something sexual against somebody against their will, again, understand what I'm saying here, Bruce Pollard. Against their will. That is no different than punching them against their will, inflicting bodily harm on them against their will. The reason I said inflicting bodily harm against their will is some people are into that BDSM, right? So that's what I'm saying. So it's about drugs. I think the people that should be in jail for drugs are the manufacturers of drugs. I don't know of any of those people who are doing it who manufacture it. Wow, I haven't gotten to my videos yet. Okay, replying, Bruce, let's see. Can someone copy over to Eric? Let's see. Jessica Taylor, new Delta plus variant is on its way. I tell you what, I'm going to use that as a segue for some. But before I go to the segue, folks, please remember to support Politics and Right. If you are on YouTube, please go and click that join button and become a member of our PDR posse. Please consider getting our cups. There it is. I'm putting it on the screen right now. Where can you get our cups? You can get our cups from the link that I'm about to put on the screen right now. The PDR Posse cups. Go ahead and get that cup from that location. I urge you to. You can also provide us with support in one of many ways by just going to politicsandright.com/support, politicsandright.com/support. Of course, you can support us immediately by giving us a super chat by hitting the $ on YouTube, or become a member on Facebook as well by clicking becoming a member on Facebook, or click that stuff. I don't remember what it's called on Facebook. But again, politicsandright.com/support, politicsandright.com/support. I want you to look at Dr. Patel. She concerned me because I had never seen her. In this form. I thought she was more, what is the word that I want to use about her? I thought she looked more concerned than I had ever seen her. Take a look at this and then we'll take it on the other side.
President seeming to want to message to these two Americas, Dr. Patel, to vaccinated Americans, you're going to be all right. To unvaccinated Americans, ignore the disinformation, protect yourself and your families, and take the damn shot.
Yeah, Nicole, and honestly, this is what we probably need him to do many times a day, every day. You know how hard it is to get time for the president to actually address the American public and take questions. And the fact that he's doing this consistently and any chance he gets tells you just how serious the situation is. I think his message was spot on. I hope that it actually turns some hearts and minds, especially governors and political leaders. I think the most important thing for me to hear was he was very clear that the 7 states where governors or other people are getting in the way of schools being able to mask, or local cities putting back indoor masking ordinance, that is who I hope he can reach quickly, because those are the very same states where we're watching the rates literally shooting up like a straight arrow. So there's so much at stake, and I am ecstatic that vaccine rates are going up. those vaccines today are not going to stop that peak and, that ascent we're seeing with cases today, unfortunately. So we still have several weeks to go. Hawaii just started schools today, and one of the mayors was so desperate that he actually wanted to postpone the opening of schools because they're seeing increases in cases as well. So we have a lot on the line here. There's so much that we need to get right, and I hope the president comes back to the podium as often as possible, prime time, daytime, during your show, anytime, so that we can keep hearing these messages. And I think it is important to address how scared vaccinated people are. I see it, Nicole. My fellow physicians, I'm scared. We got our shots and we are hearing about more breakthrough infections and how we're more vulnerable. I think we need a lot more honesty about what we know, but we also need some honesty, Nicole, about what we don't know. We didn't think we'd be here right now. We did not. And we have to admit that this virus is outsmarting us, and we need to just be honest about that, but not be scared. Just be honest. We're keeping our visors on. We're trying to watch for what we don't know, but we can only do so much when it's a novel virus and a never been seen before pandemic.
I mean, let me just press you on that. His message to vaccinated Americans is you're going to be all right. Even if you get a breakthrough infection, you're not going to get sick. I mean, is that anxiety? And anecdotally, I hear it too. But is that misplaced? I mean, is that irrational if you're vaccinated and you live in a highly vaccinated? I think my zip code in New York is up in the 80%. I mean, is it rational for me to have my sort of March 2020 anxiety levels right now?
Yeah, so look, I think everything is rational when it comes to individual anxiety because we're all reacting from a bit of base fear. That's just who we are as humans. But what I think is irrational, what I hope the president has to project confidence, and he is confident in our vaccines, but you can be confident in our vaccines and that you won't die if you're vaccinated. But then also say, and look, people, we're watching these breakthrough infections. They are incredibly rare. And he did allude to that, Nicole. He said, look, if you've got symptoms, get checked out. So, but I think we also need to be clear about what Americans are scared of. And we're all hearing stories about a friend who got a breakthrough infection and it actually was pretty bad and they're getting sick. Yeah. And even, I bet all of us on this panel have one of those or more examples. And that's what we need to be real about and say, it is possible, Nicole, the president needs to say, it is possible that we will have a variant if we can't get vaccination levels up that escapes our immunity and really poses a threat to all of us who are vaccinated. So we've got to do our part, that wall of defense. And I do think that's going to be a little bit more honest messaging to the American public because that's what's happening.
I had never seen her express that kind of concern. And at the end, especially where she is making it clear. I mean, most of the doctors weren't, they were saying, yeah, we could get mutations, but she's putting out there something. And the person that triggered me to go ahead and play this right now is Jessica Taylor, because when she puts out, new Delta Plus variant is on its way now. Concern. Yeah, we better be concerned. I know I asked my wife to please wear her masks when she leaves this house everywhere. I wear my mask when I leave this house everywhere. I'm vaccinated, but I'm still going to continue to be careful because the people that are, I'm sorry, I don't want to hit the people, but the irresponsibility of those who are buying into the fallacies of the vaccine, they are the ones now that will be responsible for a mutated virus that run the risk of starting to hurt even those who are responsible to get vaccinated. So, here, there. Anyhow, folks, let's see what else we got here. Yes, welcome back, British. Bionic Chronic says, I've been married so long nowadays, my wife says she's bisexual. If I buy her something, she'll get... That's a joke. Wow, that's funny, Bionic Chronic. Eric Hayes says, how about stopping the drug cartel smuggling? People killing thousands yearly, but no, we make them rich with U.S. policy. It's not U.S. policy. Americans love drugs. Supply and demand. Look, this is what drives me crazy. We went and we invade and killed 10,000 Panamanians because Manuel Antonio Noriega, the dictator of Panama, was allowing the cartel to use some of the banks to launder, if you will, the drugs the drug money from Americans who wanted to buy drugs. So instead of solving we always do that in America. We blame everybody else. We are the country with the drug problem. It's not the cartel. If we didn't have a demand for drugs, the cartel would not be there to bring it to us. Okay? We are dopies. So let's put blame where it belongs. Just like when we couldn't use ALAR in the United States, we shipped ALAR off to South America and all these other places, even though we know it was a cancer agent. Should we be held accountable? And talking about that, I want to show you something that happened in the press room today. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side. Folks, I've been talking about the White House press corps for quite a while now. I've been talking about them not being able to critically think. I've been talking about them just trying to have gotcha moments. Here is one reporter where you can actually understand that what they're trying to do is get some sort of a gotcha. He has no interest in doing what's necessary for the American people, keeping them more enlightened with what's going on in their own government. They're not acting like the Fourth Estate. Listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
It's been a while, so I'm hoping to ask you two questions, if that's all right. First about the coronavirus pandemic, and then about a follow-up to Governor Cuomo, the report on him. On COVID-19, former President Trump has called for China to pay the United States more than $10 trillion in reparations as a result of letting the coronavirus escape Wuhan and infect other countries, causing, of course, 600,000 American deaths and economic devastation. President Biden hasn't called for reparations from China. Does he support them? Does he think that China should pay us financially for what it has allowed to spread?
Our policy hasn't changed.
So is he open to...
Did you have another question?
Yes.
Can you believe that? He's asking if China will pay reparation for the virus that originated in China and made it over to the United States. Oh, wait a minute. Should we be charged for the virus that started in the pigs in North Carolina or somewhere here in the South that went around the world? Oh, but wait a minute. As far as reparations is concerned, isn't there like several hundred years that there were a particular group of people in America that worked for free, they were killed, they were maimed, that probably need reparations before we talk about Chinese reparations? Oh, wait a minute. Wasn't there a genocide against the indigenous people in this country where all their land was taken? Do we need to talk about reparations? Will this reporter get serious with Jen Psaki disposed of him appropriately. Our policy hasn't changed. You have another question. But what she should have said is, my God, why don't you ask a sensible question? There are a lot of other people in here that once you use that word reparation would say, wait a minute, we have been taken advantage of. This particular pandemic is peanuts compared to generations of slavery and genocide. I mean, it drove me crazy. And I think it should have driven a lot of people crazy. Now, here's another crazy thing from Brother Mike Cisak. Masking won't stop the virus. Such lunacy pushing crap that doesn't work, especially cloth masks. Okay. Earlier I told progressives they need to get active. They need to be out there in the streets. And they need to be wearing N95 masks. Just let me give you a science thing here, Mike Cisak. The virus and the droplets under which it flows has a certain dimension. And N95s have a certain dimensions that they can filtrate within that particular mask. That is how it stops. It physically works. For you to go out there with an unscientific mind, my brother, and say that, and other people, if I don't backstop it to let people know that what you're talking about really is what's pushing crap, then I would be irresponsible on my show, sir. The fact of the matter is, there are doctors, there are nurses who the only reason, as they have only been dealing with infected people for months and have not gotten the disease. And why haven't they gotten the disease? Because they were masked up and because they followed protocol. Every now and then somebody mess up with the protocol and do something that causes them to mess up. But it is irresponsible of you to go out there and put that word out. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear one. Just stay away from responsible people, please. Jessica Taylor, I'm scared but quarantined for the most part. I don't do as much as I used to. I don't live in Starbucks anymore. I go there, get a coffee, meet somebody every now and then. But I really stay away from a lot of people. My wife drives the school bus, and she has even before the vaccine, she's very good at protecting herself with the N95s that we have tons of N95s that we keep bought. All right, let's see. I hope the president comes back to protecting millions of our sisters, brothers, aunties, uncles, cousins, daughters, sons, grandkids. Of course, E2247. Let's see what else we got here. Mike says that leftists are being irrational on much of this, flip-flopping constantly. Wow. Now we have to pay the price of people who won't vax. That is exactly what's happening. We are paying the price of the irresponsible people. Eric Hayes, Egberto, like the graphics of you moving on the screen in and out, exciting. Oh, you like that, huh? Norman Reynolds, the folks that have caused any vaccinated person to get breakthrough infection are those that are over the last 3 months that have advocated not getting the vaccine. True. We are paying the price of those who are being vaxxed but are still passing the... Oh, my God. Sometimes you have to laugh. Sometimes you have to laugh. Where is the humanity in letting smugglers make money off of people? There's no humanity in making smugglers make money off of people at all. I don't know of anybody who does that. If you know of somebody who does it, let me know. All right, let's see what else we got here. Bridge MCP. If you have any biology education, you know that the virus change mutate when presented with people who have vaxxed to the original virus in order to continue and survive. How about keeping them from having the 2022 Olympic Games? There are no Olympic Games in 2022. It's 2024. Unless you're talking about the Winter Olympics, maybe. I don't know. Like money from China will save life. Nothing but greed. No, but the reporter was just trying to get a gotcha moment. He wanted to. He wanted to get on TV. Okay, that's what he's trying to do. All right, for what it's worth, T2247, I'm also a biologist, microbiologist, and chemist, and I agree with Mike about virus change mutate when presented with people who have vaxxed to the original virus in order to continue to survive. Yes, the virus also, the virus changes, let's back up. Because immunology says the following. Much of the changes in the virus is not because of the vaxxed people and trying to remain in the vaxxed people. Much of the changes in the virus is a mutation caused naturally from the virus just replicating. A DNA calculation gets changed, not from having been in a vaxxed person, but just because that's what viruses do. You put 1 billion viruses and you ask them and you put them in cells, because remember, viruses need a cell in which to replicate. You put them into a cell, you'll find that all those viruses don't have the same DNA or the same la mitocondria, o lo que se llama, inside of that. By the way, I did that in high school. We learned all this biological stuff in like I tell people, our Latin American schools in Panama were pretty damn good. We covered all of this stuff in school. Rose Williams, let's see what else we got here. Michael Renner said, Mike Cisak is probably thinking that masks don't stop the person wearing the cloth mask from catching coronavirus, not realizing that's not the point of the mask. Typical. The point of the mask is to stop your droplets from spreading to anyone else when you cough, sneeze, or yell. You've never understood that way. Thank you, sir, for putting that out. Let's see what else we got here. Before we go, we're coming out close on time. Jessica said people are also gambling with their kids. That is the saddest part. The kids having to listen to irresponsible parents. But you know what was funny? Teenagers were going to get the vaccines without the knowledge of their parents. And when a particular, I think it was in Kansas, health person said, hey, kids, you don't need to get your parents' permission to get a vax, she was summarily fired. Actually, that was in Tennessee. Think about it. That when Nicole Wallace, the thing that I played yesterday of Nicole Wallace saying the Republican Party have become a party of death, a pro-death party, she was absolutely right. All right, let's see. Viruses are chemicals not biologically alive. Chemicals change spontaneously sometimes, and viruses do that relatively easy. Yeah, now there is some argument there, E2247. There are first bacteria that behaves a certain way. The bacteria does not need a host. A virus needs a host, but once it gets into that host, it has a behavior of replication. A regular standard chemical reaction is governed by the total amount of substances, and it behaves quite differently. I know they're not bacteria. That's what I know it's not bacteria. Now, there is yet another life form. It's the stuff that gave you that sponges. It's called a prion. So there are different kind of life, semi-life kind of forms that I don't know exactly how to describe. So you have prions, you have viruses, then you have bacteria. And those are the different levels of life, if you will. Prion, the lowest. Then you've got the viruses, then you got the bacteria, then of course you have the microbes. So what can I say? Anyhow, I think I'm done at the bottom of the messages, so I think we're pretty much done with everything we wanted to talk about. Prions are terrifying. Yes, prions are in fact terrifying because that is what's caused the sponge disease and mad cow disease. Yep, they're really terrifying because, again, it's not like you can vaccine against a prion that we know of quite yet. It looks like prion does behave a bit more like a chemical. I am not sure. I am not a biologist, so I can't say that. But anyhow, folks, anyhow, we're coming at the end of the show. I want to ask you one more time to please go ahead and provide support for this program. As you can see, we address everybody. We talk to everybody. We're respectful to everybody because what we really want is real change. So please go to politicsdoneright.com/support and provide whatever support you can to help us out. Please go to, if you're on YouTube, just click that join button, become a part of our family. You can also become a part of our family by just going to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. You can also become a Patreon. We need to start increasing the levels of patrons. We're kind of stuck with Patreon. More people go for the politicsdoneright.YouTube. Please consider going to the politicsdoneright.com/Patreon as well to become a patron. If you want, you can also do a little piece on Patreon and a little piece on YouTube. politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. And of course, we always enjoy those who either donate or subscribe via PayPal. Love you for all that you do, and you're the ones that make this possible. I simply could not do it without you. I have the pastor's 38-minute interview. I'm not sure if I'm going to play it tomorrow, depending on how much material I have, because that day I'll probably only be able to play no videos, just talk to you guys and then play the pastor. But I want you to see how I talk to him and how I think we should talk to everybody else. All right, folks, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.